The symbolism of the rose. A rose is a woody, perennial flowering plant of the genus Rosa in the family Rosaceae. It has been called the Queen of Flowers. Roses have been cultivated for thousands of years in the Middle East, Persia and China. The damask rose is the national flower of Iran. There are around 30 to 35,000 rose hybrids and cultivars that have been bred for gardens. But the rose is also used in cooking and medicine. Avicenna, the 10th century Persian physician, distilled its petals for medicinal purposes, and commercial distilling existed in 1612 in Shiraz, Persia. Its hips and petals are used in jam, syrups, and ice cream. Mystic, symbolic meaning. The symbolism of the rose is connected to that of Ascension. See videos on Ascension, concept and symbols. The spiritual path, the 3 degrees, and specifically Purification. See videos. Gardens. When seen in a symbolic garden in most cultures, it is a symbol of perfection. See video, Gardens. Added symbolism derives from their thorns. The thorns representing in this case all the problems needing to be sorted out during purification. Perfume, they may have a beautiful perfume, and perfume has a symbolic meaning. Colour, of which white, symbolising purity, and red, the final sacrifice to love, are possibly the 2 most important colours. The connection with Aphrodite. The rose is used as a symbol of the goddess of love. There is only one goddess of love, but she has numerous names in different cultures. Aphrodite, Greek; Venus, Roman; Astarte, Phoenician; Ishtar, East Semitic; and Inanna, Sumeria. The symbol of the rose is also used by Catholics to mean the Virgin Mary, a traditional title given to Our Blessed Lady, an invocation in the Litany of Loreto. Aphrodite's other major symbols include birds that themselves are symbols of love, doves, sparrows and swans. See the swan video. For Aphrodite loved. Her capacity to love was the source of happiness, like a great sun burning inside her, and yellow roses grew wherever she danced. She even loved Eros, though he never left her side. Adonis, a mortal, was profoundly loved by Aphrodite for all his life. But Adonis died from the wounds inflicted by the tusks of a wild boar, And as Aphrodite rushed to her dying lover, she pricked her foot on a white rose and stained the flower with her blood. The rose turned red. Which is why white roses and red roses are key symbols. Red follows white, and why they are used in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. As the gardeners try to change the roses from white to red. A large rose tree stood near the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners at it, busily painting them red. The Romance of the Rose. The story The Romance of the Rose is an allegorical journey of the soul in its search for spiritual perfection. Superficially, it is a tale of courtly love, but is described as an allegorical dream vision. The first 4,000 lines were written between 1225 and 1230 by Guillaume de Lorry, and the remaining 18,000 or so were written by Jean de Meaux between 1269 and 1278. Guillaume de Lorry's description, compared to Jean de Meaux's much longer and rather laboured extension, has a very different feel to it. Lorry's story is entirely symbolic, and indeed it is of courtly love, but the court is that of the inner court of the cosmic egg, linking it very firmly to the spiritual path. In other words, the rose is a symbol of the last stages of the spiritual path, from purification, the white rose, and on to annihilation, the symbolic death of the self, the ego, personality, the red rose. Thus the red rose represents the final ego death, the surrender of the ego as it is absorbed into the higher spirit and God. Symbolically, we have reached the centre of the inner court. Spiritual path, purification. East Coca, number 2 of 4 quartets, T.S. Eliot. The chill ascends from feet to knees. The fever sings in mental wires. If to be warmed, then I must freeze and quake in frigid purgatorial fires, of which the flame is roses and the smoke is briars. After purgatory and rebirth, the spiritual path leads on to the stage of purification. See our video, Flames and Purgatory. At the end of purification, one is said to have reached the stage of the rose. Hasrat Inayat Khan, The Art of Being and Becoming. For every soul there are 4 stages to pass through in order to reach the stage of the rose. In the first stage, a person is rough, thoughtless and inconsiderate. He is interested in what he wants and in what he likes. As such, he is naturally blind to the needs and wants of others. In the second stage, a person is decent and good as long as his interests are concerned. As long as he can get his wish fulfilled, he is pleasant and kind and good and harmonious. But if he cannot have his way, then he becomes rough and crude and changes completely. There is a third stage, when someone is more concerned with another person's wish and desire and less with himself, when his whole heart is seeking for what he can do for another. In his thought, the other person comes first, and he comes afterwards. That is the beginning of turning into a rose. It is only a rosebud. Then, in the fourth stage, this rosebud blooms in the person, who entirely forgets himself in doing kind deeds for others. In Sufi terms, this crushing of the ego is called nafs kushi. In other words, the rose is a symbol of the very last stages of the spiritual path. One is back to spring and the red of dawn. One may briefly be a black rose after rebirth, alchemical nigredo. One is a white rose after purification and is sacrificed to become a red rose after annihilation. Rubedo is the Latin word meaning redness that was adopted by alchemists to define the fourth and final major stage in their magnum opus. Rubedo signalled alchemical success and the end of the spiritual path. Little Gidding. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown, remembered gate, where the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning. Quick now, here, now, always, a condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything. And all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crowned knot of fire, and the fire and the rose are one. Union and the rose. The central portion of the cosmic egg is the symbolic home of the king. As such, the rose symbolically is, particularly in Sufi and Kabbalistic thought, only a very brief but exceptionally important stage towards the end of the spiritual path. Zohar 3:107a, translated by Gershom Sholem. She is named Rose when she is about to join with the king, and after she has come together with him in her kisses, she is named Lily. Although the somewhat contrived explanation of the nursery rhyme Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses links it to the plague, the rhyme is mystically linked to the symbolism of ash. See the video. And more properly reads, Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses, a pocket full of posies. Ash you, we all fall down. Although a phoenix may rise from these ashes, bringing revelations and wisdom. Gardens. Roses in mysticism are also only ever found in gardens. See the video. Paradise gardens. Thus, a mystic in ecstasy is said to be in a paradise garden. Saadi, the Gulistan of Saadi, from the introduction. One of the devout, who had deeply plunged his head into the cowl of meditation and had been immersed in the ocean of visions, was asked when he had come out of that state by one of his companions What a beautiful gift have you brought us from the garden in which you have been. And once he is in the garden, he can bring back more profound revelations from higher spheres. John Keats, from Ode on the Poets. Bards of passion and of mirth, ye have left your souls on earth. Have ye souls in heaven too, double-lived in regions new? Yes, and those of heaven commune with the spheres of sun and moon. In other words, a person who experiences annihilation loses only his ego, not his ability to be a saint or God. The Lily and the Rose. Eleanor C. Mary. The rose, in contrast with the lily, is the earthly symbol of self-knowledge and selflessness. It is the herald of the future, in which human wisdom will be founded on divine love. The rose could be everywhere on earth. The lily is everywhere in heaven. Nevertheless, heaven and earth have kissed each other, as the Psalms say. When all men recognize that, there will be peace.